Hi there, welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I'm Carla,
And I'm Melanie.
and today we are on episode 147, and we're talking about our top 9 games from MelCon.
Yes, but before we get into that, I just wanted to point out, what's really impressive is episode 200. So big shout out to the Level Up Game podcast because they're recording the 200th episode. So kudos, that's impressive.
Yeah, good for them.
All right, now let's get on about Malcon. So, MelCon, for those who don't know, is a 3-day mini board game convention that started in 2019 for my birthday. And it was just like, I just wanted to play birthday all weekend long or play board games all weekend long for my birthday. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call it MelCon and had like the house full of people. And then it grew and people was like, oh, I would have come. And I was like, there was no more room. So there's like, you should rent a hall. So I did. And then so I don't know, like it was like the seventh Melcon, I think we were saying, or
I can't remember.
and
We figured it out, but I can't remember the number now.
yes, yes, because we are late recording this episode. It's been so busy because Melcon, first of all, just before that we had Car Treat, and then I've been hosting CGZA game days. We just had one at Palmetto Way a little while back, and then I'm going to be doing one on Friday, which will be before this episode airs, anyways, at the D6 Tabletop Cafe, and then there was GameCon in Edmonton, and I was helping Asmodee at GameCon for the Friday, Saturday. And then our actual birthday was on the Sunday, which was also shared with Father's Day. So Carla, by the way, how was your birthday?
It was good. Our weather wasn't the greatest here, but I was at
Yeah.
a family reunion, so I was surrounded by family. It was fun.
Nice.
What about you?
Yeah, we you know what? At first it sounded like it was gonna be me and Lee. So I was like, you know what, Lee, let's do a lobster supper. And then it's like, well, Lily's actually swapped her weekend so she could be with us. I was like, perfect, we'll do lobster supper with her. So then we're like at 4 lobster. And then Patrick ended up joining. So I was like, that still works. And then my dad's like, why don't I bring Patrick? And then me and my girlfriend can come. So then we're like, okay, we need to get 2 more lobster. And Nick and Cynthia ended up because he was had a ball tournament. Said, no, we'll be there on Sundays. So then it was like a big lobster supper, but it was amazing. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't great weather, but first day of summer, it can only go up from there. It hasn't so far. Day 2 of summer was really bad, like tons of rain and wind.
Hmm.
I'm still waiting for the nice summer weather.
It's nice today. We have a nice sunny day here.
Oh, that's good. We yesterday was nice too. So it's like we're wasting our good days on weekdays because I think it's supposed to turn this weekend.
Possibly. We'll see.
All righty. Well, let's get talking about Melcon. So we did for Cartreat, we did our top 9 games that we played at Cartreat. Now we're going to do our top 9 games that we played at Melcon. Now we played a few of them together, and then I was putting the list together, and I was like, when did she play this? I was like, where was I? So we played a lot of games not together as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Oh, did I? I can't hear you.
it's
Oh,
mine.
there. You're back.
My thing muted for some reason.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Talking
did
away,
I bump something?
talking away. I was just saying I don't know if we're gonna have any crossovers because there were a bunch of games on your list that I didn't even realize you had played.
I think there's an only possibility of two crossovers from what I'm seeing,
Okay.
but we'll
We'll
see.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll
Hmm.
see. All right. Well, now let's get started. And before we talk about the games we played at Malcon, we're actually going to talk about other games that we played recently. And we're going to be starting with you, Carla.
So I finally picked up the big box copy of Newsfjord. And this one is a Uwe Rosenberg game. It's one of his lighter games, I would say. It's very quick. It plays in under an hour. And the
Okay,
solo
yeah.
game plays even quicker, like 20 minutes, I would say you can get a solo game in. Now, this one is really neat because it's a worker placement game, but you are trying to you're building a fleet of ships and going fishing and just kind of trying to make the most money you possibly can. And how you do that is you have three workers that you get to use each round, and you can go to certain spots. And some of them can be blocked by other players, but some have multiple spots for people to go to. And you're going to be doing things like purchasing boats, purchasing buildings, clearing trees off your board so that you can put buildings on. Sometimes you might reforest and put trees back so that you don't have negative points, because if you've cleared all your trees and at the end of the game you haven't filled your board with buildings, you're going to have some negative points on there. You can also hire an elder. I'm not sure if hire is the right term, but you take an elder, and it's just a card that kind of has an ongoing ability if you use a worker there, kind of thing. And which is really nice because it can give you like an ability that other people won't have. But you do have to feed them every round. So every time at the end of the round when you're fishing, you have to divvy out your fish to different places on the board, mostly your places, but sometimes it can go to a share that was yours, but now it's somebody else's, kind of thing. And then you have to feed your elder. Then some will come to your personal shares, and then you put the rest in your reserve. So now your reserve can hold like 8 fish. You need to take a worker placement spot to release your reserve. And what the fish will do is the fish and the trees or the wood, because when you deforest, you will gain wood from that. But that's what you're going to need to build buildings and build ships. And so it's just kind of a puzzle game where you're trying to maximize and make as much money as you possibly can. Now, I haven't played it multiplayer. I've only played it solo, and it's a tricky solo puzzle because they tell you a certain score is a reasonable score. I've yet to get to that reasonable score. And then, 10 more than that is a really good score. So I'm like, it's interesting. So it's very addicting because it's such a 20-minute game solo
Right.
that I will play at least 3 games when I play it. But the really neat thing is my husband was watching, because I had it set up. I have a coffee table in front of my TV that kind of raises up, and I will listen to other content creators while I'm setting up games, sometimes playing games or whatnot, and I kind of leave it set there if I'm going to play it over and over for a few days. And he was like sitting there and he's really interested. And he started reading the rule book. This has never happened ever. And he was reading it and so interested in it. And then he was like, okay, let's play a game. And I had to get going. Who was picking me up? Somebody was picking me up to go somewhere. Oh, Cherry. No, was it Cherry to come to Melcon? I can't remember. It was
Oh,
something. No, it couldn't have been because that was early. It was anyway. Oh, I was going out to see some friends, right? And a friend was picking me up the Friday night. And I said, I can't. I'm leaving right now. I'm like, ah. So we haven't got a chance to play it because then he went away to work. But I almost
oh.
thought he was going to try this game solo. And I was like, what is going on here? Am I in the Twilight Zone? I don't think he did. He would have probably told me if he did. But he's very interested in playing this game. So I'm
Oh,
excited to get
neat.
this one to the table. But it's another banger from Uwe Rosenberg that I don't think I've played a game of his I do not like. So he
Right.
seems to make everything that I like. So that's one that I have been playing, and that's Newsfjord, if I'm saying it
Nice.
correctly. Yeah.
I'm not even going to try. Very nice. All right. So for my recent play, I have picked all in predictions.
Oh,
So
nice.
while I was at GameCon, I was demoing some game for Asmodee. This was one of the ones that I had to demo. And I had kind of watched a quick tutorial on it. And I had watched one where they kind of not that they poo-pooed, they gave it a decent score, but they were just kind of like, well, this is overpowered and this is this. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not a great game. And then I was like teaching it and watching it being played. Like teaching games I've never played. But anyways, I was teaching it, watching them get playing it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is amazing. So I went to Missions Fun and Game because they had a booth next to Asmodee, and then I bought it.
Oh, nice.
So, and I've played it since. Now I've played it a few times throughout the weekend, but it was just such a neat, satisfying game. So the main mechanism of this game is poker. You are trying to put together a hand of poker. And you're going to have 5 cards in your hand. And the 5 cards in your hand is your poker hand. So there's going to be cards on display in the front there. And those are cards that you can probably trade with, but you're not going to use them in your poker hand per se. So in the card, like on the cards, you're going to pick one to discard if that's the action you're going to do. And on the side of those cards, there's different icon that indicates the different symbols you can do. So you could pick up a card that is face up in the display, and then you would take that card and add it to your hand. Or there's one where you can draw a card face down and add that to your hand. Or you can swap a card from your hand with a card that's in the display. Or you can gain points. That's one thing that you can do. Or you can also ask other players, okay, where are you at scoring wise? Like if you have a pair, you're at level 1. If you have 2 pairs, you're at 2 and so on, right? So maybe they're like, well, I'm at 4. And I was like, okay, so they have like at least 3 of a kind or whatever it could be, right? But you don't know which number they have or that sort of stuff. And this is where there was like, oh, it's so overpowered. But you're not going to see those symbols very often. And you would have to want to give that card up to activate that symbol. So there, like, it was really not an issue that there was too much information being given. The other thing that you can do is you can ask somebody to show you 4 of their 5 cards. Now, those last 2 actions, you can't do them with somebody if they have gone all in. So that's another thing you can do on your turn. Instead of activating these cards, you could be like, you know what? I think this is as good as my hand's going to be. I'm going all in, and put the hand down. So you put it down in front of you. Nobody can ask you anything about that hand anymore. You're just kind of all in. Now, when you go all in, you add 2 cards to the display. And every time it's your turn, it would be as if you pass. And if you were to pass, you just add a single card to the display. So it could be that maybe you want to pass because the hand hasn't been built to exactly what you want, but what's in the display doesn't help what you have in your hand. So you'd be like, I'm just going to pass. So you get to add an extra card in the display, and maybe you'll get something that's more useful. Now, the round ends when the display has 2 cards at each location. So you go 1 across and then you go a second across. And that indicates that's the end of the game. So then what's going to happen is everybody's going to bid on who they think has the best poker hand. Now, we might have had some incline. I was like, okay, well, you went all in really quick. So maybe you had like a really good hand, but I have a decent hand. Am I beating them? Say, because you could bid on yourself, right? And then there's the pot that has like points in them. It's like the money. But if you guess correctly on who you think has the best hand, that pot gets divided up between everybody who guessed correctly. Could be nobody gets it. Could be that it's split. Could be that you're the only one who guessed, so you get the whole thing. Then second thing is you're also going to get points based on the value of your poker hand that you built. So if I had a full house, and maybe that gives me like a value of 6, and I would collect 6 points. And you play 3 rounds, and then whoever has the most points is the winner. It was just such a neat, satisfying game to play. So it's just like the moment I saw it played, I was like, no, I need this. So I bought it. It's in my collection now. And that is my recent play, All In Predictions.
Nice. I'm looking forward to playing this one.
Yeah.
This is a different one for Phil Walker Harding. He typically does
Right.
not card games that, like when this came out, I was like, I had to read the designer again. I'm like, what? This just doesn't seem like his type of game. But I mean, he does so much, variety of games. And now he's delving into some cool little funky card games. So
Maybe it was like a
Oh,
challenge, like,
yeah.
okay,
He's
make a
like,
poker game.
yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it was neat.
Sounds good. I'm glad you picked it
Perfect.
up.
So now yes, I'm glad I picked it up too. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the games we played at MelCon. Now, you joined Saturday, Sunday.
hmm
I was there all 3 days. How many games did you play over the weekend? Do you know? I don't know. I'm not
I'll
sure why
I'll
I'm
have a
asking, but
I'll have a look when it's your turn. I'll count them. Um,
okay.
yeah. Okay. Well, I can do that right now. One, two, three,
We're
10.
because Malcon was what? It was, I'm just going to check as well. It was June
21.
12th to the 14th.
Yeah.
You
21
played
games. I
21
played
games?
in the 2 days. Yeah.
I played 20 plays, so you have one more than I did, and I was
I
there a
had
whole extra day.
I played a few little games though, so I
I've
mean,
played some bigger ones too,
yeah.
so that explains it. All righty. Well, starting with you, Carla, what was
Okay.
your number 9?
Well, my first one is a little game. This is a game we played Sunday morning. We kind of got up early and we went to the hall a bit early. And I said, "Ooh, I want to play this one again." We had played this at your house before.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Otter. This is a little card shedding game that is quite unique and adorable. Like the art is just so cute. So you have the little deluxe version of it, right? So you
Yeah.
have the play mat. This is, I think, the first time we played it, the picture you're showing here. But
Yeah, I
at
didn't have a picture from Malcon.
well, and you didn't have the mat at this point, right? Because this was someone else's copy you had, I think, the
Oh, I
first
see.
time.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, you don't need the mat, but there's a mat in the middle, and then it shows you where to slot all the cards. So you have 3 columns of cards, and in each column there's a top and a bottom that has like rules, and then the middle cards are just randomly placed. And then you're dealt, I think it's what, nine-ish cards or so. And on your turn, you are just trying to place as many cards, or all of them if you can. Now, how you do that is you're going to play cards to one of the columns in the middle, and you're going to have to abide by the 2 rules. Sometimes you can only play 1 card, but sometimes you can play, 3 or 4 cards. Now, there is a way to mitigate that. You can switch some cards from the bottom rows or the top rows. But every time you switch a card or flip one, you're going to pick up another card. So it might allow you to play, 4 or 5 cards, but you might end up picking 1 or 2 if you mitigate. And so then when you play your cards, you play until you can't follow both rules, and then you can still play one more card if you can follow one of the rules. And then your turn is over and it goes on to the next player. Now, as soon as somebody has shed their hand, you get to flip over your little otter rock. It's like does it say shiny rock on the back or something?
Lucky
Oh,
Stone.
Lucky Stone, which they do. Otters really do collect stones. It's just adorable. If you ever watch a little documentary on them, they're the sweetest things in the world. But anyway, so you will flip that over, and then the next time, if you go to flip that over and you have your Lucky Stone, you win the game. So you basically have to win 2 games. Not in a row, but 2 before anybody else does. It's
Yeah.
super light, very easy to teach, but unique ideas. I really like the switching of cards and flipping cards to, maximize you playing out your hand. It's just really cute. The art is adorable, and it's otters. I don't have an otter game, so I'll definitely be picking this one up when it comes out to retail. Did you kickstart this one? Is that how you ended up getting
So
it?
I did end up kickstarting this one, and Park Life, and then they have Panda Red Panda Surprise that just on Kickstarter. So I've kickstarted that one, and then I picked up Use Up All the Sick Days and Capybara I have
Oh, right.
coming as well. They so far all of the games that they've had that I've played, I really enjoy, and they're all extremely adorable. They're
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of charming games.
Yeah. So that's my number 9, otter.
Nice. Good pick. All right. My number 9, and I forget, I don't remember what is on my list now, and I don't have it in front of me. So we'll all go and find out together. And that is Aquaria. So I played this with you, and it had been played at Card Street, but we weren't playing it. It was being played to the table next to us. So I was kind of eyeballing it. And in this game, you are putting together an aquarium. And the action selection is extremely interesting. It's almost like a rondelle, but you don't have to go from like side to side. You can jump across or go wherever you want. However, if you go to an adjacent location when you activate an action, you get a bonus for doing that. So we're like doing that all the time. And there's like different resources that we needed on there. Now, I don't know what I was doing. I had fish food coming out of my yin yang in this game. But there's different colored fish food. Then you also need to have oxygen. And the oxygen is like the resource for activating different things. So the more you have, the more you can do. And then you have filters that you can kind of add on. And when you fill up your filters, you get to activate all of the tiles that you've added to the filter. So ideally, you want to kind of add some tiles to your filter before you activate it. And then it's really interesting because when you get a card and you can spend the cost for the card, you add it to your aquarium, and you're going to activate the row and column that it's in. And depending on what it says to do, like you can rotate the knobs so many things, and you're trying to set the knobs so that it's going to be at the current level, like at the current round's goals. And that changes from game to game. So if you don't get them all at the set, like, well, the next one is going to be yellow. So maybe I'll have some of them so they're ready to be at yellow. I did have one round where I had all of the ones activated because it's great. At the end of the round, then you get to collect extra things for having them on the correct thing. So it's just kind of a really interesting game. Because there's a big, strong set collection aspect to it. There's like there's a bit of like a track that we're going up on, and I don't know if it was coral or what the map was supposed to be, but you're going on that, activating things or collecting things on that as well. It was neat. I really enjoyed it. But it's my number 9. So it wasn't like, I thought this was a really neat, fun game, but it didn't like blow my mind. But it was my first time playing it too. So maybe the more I play, I find that about me. The more I play, the more I seem to enjoy games. I seem like I was always out of oxygen too, though. But I had tons of fish food. So
yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, it was neat.
Good choice.
All right, that was my number 9, Aquaria.
My number 8 is Lord of the Ring, Fate of the Fellowship. Now, this game I was supposed to have played, I think, twice before. Once at Car Treat, once somewhere else, and it just didn't happen. It felt like it was just always something went wrong, and it wouldn't work out. So I thought, just maybe not meant to play this game. Well, finally I had a chance.
This is one of those I didn't realize to played it.
Yeah, this was Sunday afternoon. Michelle and Michael were there, and Michael had it in his stack, and I was like, "Oh, you interested in playing that game?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And this is a friend of ours. He is the perfect person to run this game because there's a lot to run in this game, I found, and maybe because I'm not super knowledgeable of the theme. I have watched, the movies, but I think I would have a hard time running the game where it's a pandemic-like game. It follows kind of the same system, but different. Yeah. It is definitely thematic to the story, but there are things in there, like some of the cards and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what these do, or, explain how this works. And once he did, it was very good. He's a very good teacher at games like this. So we played a 4-player game, me, Michelle, Paul, and Michael. And we came very, very close to winning, but we did not win. But it was still really interesting, and it's different enough from Pandemic that I could see people owning, this as well. So you are basically, you have different goals depending what scenario you're playing. So we played not the first one because they're always teaching this to new people. So they always had to end up playing the first scenario. And I said, I'm fine playing it, a second scenario. I won't know the difference. And so
Right.
we played a second or third scenario. And so instead of just trying to get the ring into Mount, can't remember the name of
Total.
it, something. Um, I thought you would be more knowledgeable about it than me. But anyway, we had to do that, but we also had to achieve three more goals, I believe, before that. So there was different things. We each had two characters, and then um, we all had like special abilities, but it seemed like all the goals kind of had something to do with one of our characters, sort of thing. And like we had to kill somebody off in, well, we didn't kill them, but they had to die in battle saving somebody. And like there was different unique things that are very different to pandemic, but it was really neat because like on your term you'd have four actions, I believe, and then you'd have one from your other character, so you choose a character to do the four and then one for the other. And you have your similar actions, you can move and do things, but each of you does something special, so you typically do your special action on your turn. And it was just really neat. Like it was the perfect game for me on a Sunday because my brain was so fried that I'm like, I really want to play a Euro, but I don't think my brain can handle it. A co-op is perfect. I am not
Yeah.
solely in charge of all the decisions. And I really wanted to learn this game, so it was that perfect thing. I think I'm just going to try to do that Sunday afternoons, is play a co-op game on conventions, because you just can kind of give yourself a break and you all work together and make the decisions together. But it was lovely. And it's not something I would buy. I would definitely play it again. I wouldn't buy it because I wouldn't want to have to run the game and know all the ins and outs of all the cards and everything. But it was awesome. And that's my number 8, Lord of the Ring, Fate of the Fellowship.
Yeah, that's a cool one for sure.
Yeah.
I almost played this at MelCon. We were setting it up, and then somebody's like, "Oh, do you guys have room?" I was like, "Take my spot," and I ended up going to play
That's what
something different.
happened at Car Treat. I gave up my spot for someone. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it's
funny.
the
That
right
happened to
thing
you
to
too.
do.
Yep. When it's your own convention and you're fighting for spots,
Exactly.
of course.
All right, my number 8 is Formidable Farm. This is one that the more I play it, the more I enjoy it. This game really reminds me of Spice Road, where you're just collecting things and then
Century Spice Road, you mean, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Century Spice
Yep.
Road. Like it just kind of reminds me of that, like just with collecting stuff and
Mm-hmm.
changing it up. And
Yeah.
this one definitely has a lot of that. So you have a pile of cards in front of you. You're going to have 3 in your hand. And at the top, there's the cost. And then at the bottom is what it'll give you. And you're just trying to go through that deck as fast as you can. So you're going to need to collect these different things. But when you activate the cards, it'll transform some of the stuff. So like the one that I have there in the middle, if you paid 2 tomatoes, a cucumber, and a wheat, then you would get a pig, and I think it was something else. Then you could go and use that towards the other card that you had that was a pig and 2 tomatoes. So then that would give you something different. And you're just trying to kind of make the cards work together best you can so that you can get rid of them as quickly as you can. And then when you complete a card, you put it face down and it becomes kind of a coin or a resource that you can spend to do different things, where you could draw more cards or you could collect more resources. But the rondelle in the middle kind of activates, because each time you can do an action where draw a card or collect a resource, and then be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the wheat and collect 3 wheat. Oh, you're on my way. Well, then I'm going to pay a card to be able to do it anyways, or I'm going to pay a card so I can reactivate that same spot I'm in and not move. Or so there's a lot of different things into play. And every time I play it, I just like it more and more. It's simple, but it gets a little tricky. Like, and you're trying to maximize the like what you can complete in one turn. It was just so fun. And that is my number 8, Formidable Farm.
Yeah, that's a neat one. Michelle had wanted to play that, and I was like, I don't know if I could teach that offhand. I'd have to like read through the rule book, and I'm never a fan of doing that at conventions. I just want to get straight to the game. So I failed to teach her that one, but it is neat. It's a neat little engine, quick engine builder.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my number 7 is The Gang. Now, I absolutely love The Gang, and whenever I get a chance to play it, I take it up because I don't get to play this often. I have played it with my family and they did like it, but I haven't pulled it out again with them. And it doesn't get played a lot in our game group. We played it when we were in Invermere a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think were you in that game that we
Yeah.
played? Anyway, so as soon as somebody was pulling it out, they're like, "Oh, you want to play the gang?" I just dove for it. I was like, "Yes, I'm in." And I love this one. This is a cooperative poker game, which sounds like, what? That doesn't make sense, but it works well. You each get your 2 cards, and there's kind of 4 rounds. The first 3 rounds are just kind of, I'm going to say they're like deduction rounds because all you're doing in the first 3 rounds is trying to guess how good your hand is compared to everybody else. So you have these set of poker chips. We played, was it a 4-player game? No, we played a 5-player game. So there's 5 poker chips out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you see your 2 cards, and you're going to grab a poker chip depending what you think how good your hand is. So if I had, a pair of kings, I would probably grab that number 1 right away because that's a pretty good first 2 cards, right? If I
Mm-hmm.
had a 2 and a 4, I would maybe reach for that number 5 chip. But I could grab that 5 chip and somebody else goes, no, 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 I have the worst hand, and they grab that from me, and then I maybe grab it back or I grab a different chip. Like I said, the first 3 rounds are just sort of to deduce like how well your hand is. Then you deal out the river, so you deal out 3 cards, and then you're going to compare your hand to that and do another round of chips and choose what now. Like, did a king show up and I have 2 kings? Like, I just have 3 of a kind, so I'm grabbing that number 1, and so on. Like, if you had a bad hand, or if you had, say, I had a king and an ace, and now a 2 showed up. And I thought, well, that was probably a pretty decent hand, possibly, but now it's kind of getting a little bit worse. There's a 2, a 4, and a 6 in the river. So now I'm thinking I maybe not have one of the top hands. So I might go down and choose a different chip. So anyway, the first 3 rounds, that's what you're doing. Now in the fourth round, when all 5 cards are played out in the river and your 2 cards, you're going to try to have, you make the best poker hand out of your 2 cards and the ones in the river. And again, you're going to grab a chip, and this time it's serious because you need to get them in the correct order. So this is kind of like the mind, but with a game about it. Like the mind to me was more of like an activity where this is, I mean, you're playing poker, but trying to figure stuff out. So I do enjoy this one. Now, if you get them all in the correct order, you get to flip a safe because you were trying to break into the safe. Or am I getting this wrong?
No, you're
We're
right.
we're we're the bad guys, yeah. So, and if not, then a bomb goes off. So you're gonna either win the game by flipping 2 safe cards, or you're gonna lose the game by flipping 3 bomb cards. And you're just gonna play until three of one of those is flipped. And we played it at least twice, maybe 3 times, because then there's some other cards which I've never played with in my game where it's kind of helper and hinder cards. So if you're doing well, you get a card that'll kind of make things harder. And if you're losing, as soon as you pull a bomb card, you get to flip a card that will actually make things easier. So that's kind of neat and helps you kind of mitigate the game a little bit too. But it's just so satisfying. We played with a person who had never played it before, and they loved Lionel. He actually really loved this
Oh,
game.
nice.
He wasn't gonna play. He's like, ah, no, I don't know. Like, I'm good or whatever. I'm like, no, come play with us. So he played. And he's like, I really like this game, and I think he was a bit of a poker player. So it's interesting that a poker player would be interested in this because it's the opposite of usually what poker does. You're just trying to win it all, whereas here you're working together. But I absolutely love this one, and that's my number 7, The Gang.
Nice. Yeah, it's a neat game. This is another one that I had no idea you played. I
Oh yeah.
didn't see this one get played at all. All righty. My number 7 is Santa's Workshop.
Yeah.
So me and Dave, because he's like Dave so Dave from the rathole.ca, every year he reviews tons of Christmas themed games. And then so he's like, "Oh, I see you brought Santa's Workshop because it just got delivered not that long ago." Santa's Workshop is a worker placement game, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's play it." And then I was like, as a joke, I was like, "I don't know if we can play it without Christmas music." So he got playing Christmas music, and I think everybody hated us for it. But it's so good.
Some of
But
it
this
was
game
good
is so
music.
fun. Like
Some of it was
we're
bad.
out. Well, it's funny because he had like a little Darth Vader thing that was playing the music from. So it's like, but anyways, in this one, we are elves in Santa's workshop, and we need to get Christmas gifts like ready for Christmas, right? So there are letters from to Santa that have orders and toys to make, and then we need to go and collect the items that we need to make those toys, and then you need to collect them and put them together and complete the toys. At the same time, you can also get ornaments onto the Christmas tree that give you kind of bonus, but also kind of shows that you have Christmas cheer, which is good because you get points if you have the most. And then you want to collect coal because coal is like the fuel for everything that you want to get going. And then there's the reindeers that you need to take care of. So there's a lot of different elements to it, but it's so thematic. Like just the number, like our little player that are like our point counters, we have our little cookie cutters, and then all around the edge of the board they're like little Christmas cookies. Like the attention to detail when you look closely at this game is so good. Now, at its core, it is a fairly simple worker placement game. It's really straightforward. They have two versions of this game. They have the other side of the board that makes it a little bit easier if you're going to be playing with younger kids. Or this version. Now, it's not a complex game, as I said, at all. Is you collect your resources, you fulfill your orders, and the more orders and the more things you put on the Christmas tree, each round is going to give you kind of bonus points for having the most Christmas cheer. But the thematic aspect of it was so good. And I had played it the first time, me and you. I backed it. Like the company went under and it was going to be not happening. And then there was a Christmas miracle and it's revived. And I finally got my copy and got to play it. And I am absolutely loving it. And that is my number 7, Santa's Workshop.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, you guys ended up having two people join you though, right?
Yeah, we were four
Okay.
playing.
Because it felt like I kept looking over. I'm like, that seems like a really long game. You must have been chatting and stuff too, because it's not typically a long game. But maybe it was just the music went on a long time. At first, it was like, oh yeah, I don't mind this, and then after a while, everyone's like, what is going on over there?
I was like, Dave, turn it down. Like after a while, I was like, they're gonna kick us out.
What made you bring it to Melcon?
Because I wanted to
What?
play it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
honestly,
I
I
was
didn't
like,
know what to bring. Like, what do you
yeah,
bring?
yeah.
So people had like given me like half a dozen games they wanted me to bring. I was like, okay, what do I want to play? And I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna bring Santa's Workshops.
Oh,
Oh,
that's funny.
yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't end up playing it, so it's definitely not a crossover. But my number 6 is another new game that I got to play, and this is Panda Royale. Now, Panda Royale is somewhat of a roll and write, but it's mostly a dice game. You're mostly, you're rolling dice, but and you're scoring them, but it's more dice than it is writing, I would say. And it's neat
Mm-hmm.
because there's all different colors of dice and they all score differently. So I believe everybody starts with the same colors of dice and you roll your dice and you're going to score them. And now whoever has the highest total is going to. Oh, I gotta get this right. They get to draft first, I think, for the next round, because then there's going to be a group of dice in the middle that you get to draft from. And it's going to be like different colors as well. And some dice will multiply with each other. Some can be, multiplied, but they could also multiply negatively. Some are going to, there's a dice that'll let you steal other people's dice. Some is like there's a d20 that just kind of gives you a whole bunch of points, all kinds of different things with these dice. But there's also these little pink dice, and those are the pity dice. So if you have the two lowest scores, you get the pink dice at the end of the round, and you get to add those to your scores. Now, it was quite a neat game because every round, like you think, oh my God, the first few rounds I was just doing terrible. I'm like, I'm never going to catch up in this game. But you totally can, because if you end up drafting dice and you keep getting these blue dice which multiply with each other, then you can really get some big points. And then you can see kind of a golden pip on one of the blue dice. Those are even more valuable. And it's just neat how you have to choose which way you kind of want to go. Do you want to just get a whole bunch of green dice? Do you want to try to get a whole bunch of blue and do multipliers and things like that? Or get a bunch of the clear dice, which you can steal other people's? And it was just really fun. It's there's 10 rounds, and as you can see if you're watching, like the score gets like higher and higher every time because you just gather more and more and more dice, and you just roll and you add up your score. So it's quite easy to teach. Now, this game has always intrigued me, and I've always kind of had it in my cart, but it's quite expensive for what it is. Like, it's, technically a roll and write, and it's a $50 game. And that's because there's so many dice in
Like
there.
there's
And
over
I,
100 dice, yeah.
yeah, and I know Stacy, who I played with, she said she actually priced out the dice. She said it's definitely cheaper to buy the game. Because I'm like, you could
Oh,
almost make this game, but and then there's an expansion too. I can't remember if she had it, but it kind of adds a whole schwack of different dice, and like, which is neat to me. I love dice. I love rolling dice, and just how they kind of add up and multiply differently was so neat. We played it, and we were playing it with, I think his name was it Richard? Now I'm forgetting his name, but he's like, because I usually my dice rolls in a typical day are not, I'm not the greatest dice roller. And so he's like, oh, no, no, you're playing with me. You'll be totally fine. Because he was losing. He played it a couple times, I think, earlier in the day. And he ended up winning. I actually ended up coming in second. And the first
nice.
4 or 5 rounds, I was doing terrible. But it just goes to show that things can change. It's not like, if you're low in those first rounds, you're out of the game, because you could just get lucky and draft some really cool dice that help you and just make your score go crazy. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And that's my number 6, Panda Royale.
Yeah, I saw you guys play this one. I had played
Yeah.
it once before.
Have you?
And I was like, oh, I want it. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't find it. And then on, I think Amazon, it was like $80. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
it's
not
ridiculous
spending
there.
$80 for it.
Yeah.
And then somebody says, but buy from the Amazon US because it's quite a bit cheaper. And then
Oh,
even with the
really?
exchange or whatever. So it's here now. It arrived this week. So I now have this one
Oh,
in my
nice. Oh,
collection. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's
It's just,
cool.
I
It's
think it's so
cheaper.
satisfying to play a game that uses like all the games, like all the dice from the D6. Like you get your D12, your D20s.
Yeah.
Like it's neat to have that combination of dice in a game.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you got it. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the family.
It's in the family. Exactly. All righty. My number 6 is Otter. So this is our first crossover. This game is just so darn adorable. I think we ended up playing it twice. Did we play it twice? Or we played
I
it.
only played it once because I was playing another game. Michelle had just come and she was setting up a game for us. So you guys
Maybe.
might have played it one more time, but I played it once.
Maybe. I think it's just so cute because you got the top cards, it's like the otter's head. And then you got the bottom cards, and you have like the otter and their little tiny feet. And then the middle card that has the value and the suit, it's the little otter tummy. It's adorable. It is so adorable. It's a neat, satisfying, puzzly game. But oh my God, I love the look of this game. Now you've talked about it, and then I'm not going to get too much more into it, but it's a card shedding game. You're just trying to get rid of your cards as quick as you can. It's nothing more like frustrating though. It's like, okay, I got 2 cards. I'm about to go out. Somebody else goes out, and everybody goes back up to 10 cards. And I was like, I was almost there. And then you gotta start again. But it's just a really, really neat game, and I really enjoy it. And that is my number 6, Otter.
Nice. All right, my number 5 was one someone suggested I bring. I can't remember who it was, if it was Cherry or can't remember, but this is Diatomes. Now, Diatomes is a tile placement game, a pattern making tile placement game, but the theme is quite unique. You're basically playing as Victorian what
Scientist,
would
I
I actually
guess.
say? Kind of, I guess. Scientists that are using making art form out of their micros like making mosaics out of their microscopic cells, like LJ cells. And apparently they're quite beautiful, and apparently this was actually a thing. They did this. They made art out of all the things they would find. But on our board, we have kind of a symmetrical board that has all different kinds of shapes. And in each shape, you can usually put 3 to 4 different kinds that you want. And you're going to start with a couple tiles, and you're going to place it in the central board there. And you're trying to make um, different colors with your little, not microscope, the little, not telescope, the magnifying glass. You're going to put it on, and it's going to show you how many pieces of the pie are in each color. Now, that is going to decide what shapes you're going to get for cells. So if I had, like, out of the 6 pie pieces, if I had 4 green and 2 red, I'm going to get certain shapes. And I'm going to take those onto my board, and then I have the whole time until my next turn to decide where I'm going to place them. Now, what you're trying to do is make symmetrical things. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see how this board looks, and you're going to want to place similar shapes and colors if possible. Sometimes it's just colors or shapes, kind of symmetrical to each other. So across from each other, that would kind of, split in two if you had to take the board and cut it in two. You're also trying to get a bunch of one color because there's a bunch of different things you're going to score at the end of the game. All the symmetry you can get, sometimes connected colors. Sometimes you're going to, well, always you're going to score for having a lot of one color. Those are going to give you some high points. And then it's kind of going up as the circles as well. So if you can get all different shapes in each of the central circles, there's 3 central circles, you can get some big points there. It's tricky to do because with the tiles you have, you're limited as to what you're going to make. So you're trying to place it around this little central tile configuration to get the best little tiles you can. Now, we just kind of played the base version. You can add in more goals and make things a little bit more interesting. But it's just such a lovely, really, really thinky game. Like, it looks like it's just like a cutesy tiling game, but it's quite thinky. And the solo version has like a kind of a campaign to it where you kind of start in level 1 and you move up and you do all kinds of things. I think I've played about 5 of those, and they are also in a different tricky boat. Like, it's a kind of a different puzzle you're trying to do, but I really enjoyed the multiplayer one as well because you're all kind of trying to do the same thing and get the most points possible. You have these little passport books that is like shows you the rules and shows you what each shape is worth, how to score and everything, and then you have everyone has their own sheet to score at the end, and it lays it out very clear because at
Mm-hmm.
first we're like, oh, okay, we're going to have to go through this at the end. But then you look at it and it's very, very crystal clear of how to score everything, which is neat. But the little shapes that you're putting in the tiles, they're cardboard, but they have like a sheen to them, a shine, and like kind of glitter on them. So they just look gorgeous, which I assume is what that looks like under the microscope. And it's just one of those beautiful games. This picture, we don't have I don't think we have any tiles in there yet, so you can't see, but if you go and check this game out, you'll see how gorgeous it is. And it's just really a neat little tiling game, and that's my number 5, Diatoms.
Yeah, neat game for sure.
Hmm.
All righty. My number 5 is chai tea for two. So this was one of the door prizes that was available to win. And it was donated by Steeped Games. And but I had brought my copy and I ended up playing it. I can't remember what it was like in the morning. Nobody else was kind of really up, so we got playing this one. I think it was Saturday morning. And then I was teaching it and we ended up playing it. And this is one that I really enjoy. And I think it's super cool because in theme, this is like chai, you're making tea. You have, like a tea that you get more points for doing or whatever. And that's where the resemblance ends. Like this is a completely different type of game. And it's a dice placement game, like your dice worker placement game, and depending on the pip where you can place it or what you can do with it. But you're going to be collecting tea. Now the first player is going to pick a certain tile that they're going to activate, and that gives us tea that we collect, and everybody gets to collect that. But you can go and collect extra teas, or you can take cards that you're going to add along the side of the board that's going to either allow you to move your tea forward quicker, or it's going to have like somewhere you can score, kind of park your tea to score more points, or it's going to be like a blooming tea that the more you have, the more points it's going to be. So you have these different cards that you can kind of tuck around your board to affect what's on your board as well. And then the tea that you collect starts at the bottom, and then you need to kind of transport it towards the top of your board in order to add it to the ships that's going to have the order of certain tea combinations. So with your dice, you're going to want to collect some ships so that you can get some orders to activate. And with that, you want to create like a run with your dice. But it's interesting because people can go and outbid you with like a higher run or longer run than what you've put on there. So it's kind of, if you want to really secure it, maybe put your higher run or different things. And that's how you're going to kind of collect the orders that you want to fulfill. But then it's going to be completely useless if you don't get to move your tea forward. And then the last action you can do, and this is where you're going to want to create some set and place your sets to be able to get tea movements where you're going to be able to move the tea up like the track of your board. It is neat. It's so satisfying. The components are beautiful and amazing. And then each round you roll the dice and you kind of look at what the other player has. Like, what do you have left? Oh man, he has like a 5 and a 6, so he could really outbid me on the boat. And so it's interesting decision, but it's a really neat game. We haven't even played the other side because on the other side, your tea transforms like it. What is it? It ferments. And when it ferments, it like it changes from one color tea to a different color tea, and then things change as it goes. So the other side looks way more puzzly because you're going to be like, okay, well, I want blue tea, so I need to start with green tea because it's going to transform here, and then it's going to transform again there. Like, I'm just going to stay on this side for a few more games anyways, but it was a lot of fun, and that is my number 5, chai tea for two.
Nice. That is a good one. All right, my next one is another old one of mine, but you must have brought your copy there. And I had some people were setting it up, and I was gonna kind of start teaching them. I'm like, oh, let's deal me in, and I'll play as well. And this one is Nation the Dice Game, or Nation. I think it's just called Nation
Yes.
Dice. Yeah, the Dice Game. This is awesome. This is a really fun little engine building dice game, and it kind of doesn't look like it's like it would be that fun of a game. It's very beige and kind of old
Right.
school looking with, just like basic art and whatnot, but it is super fun. You all start as a different country, and you will all start with 5 white dice. And on your turn, you're going to roll those dice. Now, there's going to be more tiles in the middle that you're going to want to purchase. Your dice are going to like roll to either money, swords, leaves, books, or stone. Now, the tiles on there are going to cost either money or swords. So you're hoping you have enough to get a few new tiles. And when you buy these tiles, if you've purchased a tile that said, let's say, has 2 blue dice on it, you're going to place it on top of one of the spots where you would normally have a white dice. And you're going to have to pay that white dice, and you can spend spent dice. You don't have to spend unspent dice. You'll put it back into the supply, and then you'll take the new dice, roll it, and those are good to use. So as you're doing actions, sometimes you're getting more actions because you're spending dice that are already spent, which would come back to you at the end of the round. But if you're replacing that tile, then they will go away, but you're going to get even better dice. So it's neat how you start to like build this dice engine, and there's 4 rounds to the game. In the fourth round, there's no more dice you can buy, so you try to get a bunch of dice in the first ones, but you can buy other things. You can buy monuments that will kind of go off to the side until you've built them, and they always cost stone. So you might have to wait until you can gather enough stone with your dice or these little chits, because some of the tiles will give you these little chits that are basically like a rolled dice that is already done, and you still get to use them every round. And so you just go back and forth, each doing a turn, and then until someone passes, and then they pass, and then everyone goes until everybody passes, and then you're going to measure out your books. Whoever has the most books is going to get a few extra points. You can also like use your swords and your leaves towards war and famine and get points that way. And you basically just play 4 rounds of that, and that is it. Now, it might not sound like much, but it is super fun because it's just
So good.
trying to figure out how to get as many dice as you can. And you have a bunch of re-rolls, and sometimes you'll re-roll dice, and they might have shown like a coin on them, and now you've re-rolled them, and they're all 3 coins, so you have all this money that you can spend. It's such a neat game. I love this one. And I know I have purchased the expansion, which adds Unrest, and it's a green dice. Can't exactly remember what it does, but I know it's awesome. And typically I know you're not a expansion fan, but this one it's a really cool addition if you can ever pick that one up. But even just the base game is so fun. I taught it to Bernie and Shane, and then I saw Bernie the next day teaching it to someone else. He
Oh,
liked it so
fun.
much. Yeah. So this was my number 4, the Nation the Dice Game.
Yeah, this is such a neat one. Like it's civilization theme.
Yeah.
It doesn't play long like a
No,
civilization
it's
game,
like
but
45-minute game, if that.
yeah, such a good game.
Yeah. 2 people could play it
Nice.
in 20 to 30 for sure.
Nice. All right, my number 4 is Done Up. So DNUP. This is also a game that I have demoed at the Asmodee booth like so much. I could teach this game in under 3 minutes, no problem now. But it is a very straightforward game. And what's cool is it plays 2 to 5 players. The 2-player variant actually is really neat because both players would kind of put 2 hands. But this is a card shedding game, and you're trying to get rid of all of your cards. Now, you can play a set. So a set could be a single card, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, and so on. And where this is different from other games is when you're playing a set, you're only competing with other set on the table that are the same as you. So if I play a single card and somebody plays a pair, nothing happens. We're not on the same level. We're not in competition. But if somebody else plays another pair, well, then they're going to have to be higher than that first pair they got that was played in order to place it. And if they do beat that first pair, then the person who has the card in front of them is going to need to take that hand, like those cards, rotate them to the other side, which has a different set of number, and add them back into their hand. Or you can add a single card to somebody else's set that's already on the table. So I could be like, okay, well, you played a single card. Now I'm going to add that. So it's actually a pair now. Now you beat that other pair. So then they again have to rotate and pick up those cards. Or if they had a card that was like played in front, it's like, okay, well, you played that pair. And I really like the numbers on the other side because that would make a great hand in my hand. So I could go and pick up those cards, rotate them, and add them to my own card. Or if I can't do anything, I can't beat anything, I could just take my hand, rotate the whole thing, and play on the other side. And you're just trying to be the first one to get rid of all of your cards. It's so satisfying. The cards are beautiful. And it's such a neat game. And that is my number 4, done up.
That's great that you still love it after 2 days of teaching this game.
Exactly, right? You know it's a good game one.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. My number 3 is another cooperative game, and this is Eternal Decks. This one I had wanted to play. I wanted to play it at Rocky Mountain. It never happened. I wanted to play it at Car Treat. Never
Mm-hmm.
happened. And then found out Brent was going to be here at Car Treat. Said he was coming to MelCon. I said, "Oh, can you teach that one maybe?" And so he did. So he actually ran 2 games of this because there was more people that were interested in, and Darren had brought another copy. So he
Nice.
ran 2 games. There was 3 and 3 instead of well, you can't play it with 5. Yeah, it's a 4-player game, but and so this one is quite interesting. There's this big mat that you place out. It's just like a cloth mat. And you all kind of start with a hand of cards. And what you're trying to do is basically place these 5 diamonds. Oh, maybe it's not. Can't see how many there. There's a certain diamonds on this like spot. And how you do that is you're going to place cards out in these rows if you're watching on YouTube. And you're going to complete a row and then collect another deck because you only have so many cards each of you. So you're going to play out these cards and grab a deck and then start playing again. And then your other teammates are going to be really low on cards. So you're going to try to get them to have completed a row. Sometimes you might have to end up giving them a card just so they have more cards to play. Because if you ever run out of cards, you lose the game. So
Mm.
we ended up playing this twice because we won the first time and then we played the second scenario. And now I can't remember if we ended up winning that one or not. But anyway, it was really, really neat because there's different ways to play cards. There's rules in every row, so you can't, you have to follow the rules to play them. And if you happen to not be able to play them, you can play them in the river at the top. And anytime that fills up, then you can get like a kind of a joker card that is a wild, so you can play at any time. Now, as you grab a new deck, it's not just, all roses because there's like a monster kind of thing that comes out and this card flips over and now it might say nobody can play green cards. So you're really trying to I don't even think it's a monster, but you're trying to beat that, let's just call it a monster so that that rule isn't in effect and you can play green cards. So there's another spot where you can go and play out a pair or a triple or just a certain card to like negate that rule. Now, every time you've played 3 of those monster type cards, you're going to get one of these little diamond chips, and that's going to help towards winning the game. And every scenario is kind of different. The first one's obviously the easiest, but it's very thinky because you have to work together and you can't say what's in your hand, but you can use some knowledge of you have some little discs that you can put like in a spot saying like I really want to play there, so please don't play there. Or you could say like I really need help in this area, or like look here, I've got 2 cards in my hand, help guys kind of thing. And it was just really a neat game. I this is something I would really want to play like with our group. Like I like Cherry, she played at the other table and I don't know if she loved it, but I think you would want to play it with people you know really well and kind of know how they sort of play. I don't know. It might be one of those games where you need to kind of really know the people and know how they play and what they would maybe play and things like that. So I would really like to try it again with Cherry. I know you would love this game because although Brent said there's no deduction in it, I feel like there is because you kind of have to deduce what the others need to do,
Mm.
like, and so like just a little bit, but it's mostly like and mostly cooperative, but super neat game. And now there's another one coming out. So this one's called Eternal Decks, and there's one coming out called Eternal Sevens, which I think might be a two-player version of this, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so I haven't really looked into it much, but this one was really awesome, and I was so glad to play this one. And that's my number 3, Eternal Decks.
Neat. All right. I wish it would have been a neoprene mat instead of a cloth mat.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
a big
thing,
fan of cloth mats.
it does fit in the box, though. I think that's why they made it so thin, that
Right.
it was that, but
Yeah. All righty. My number 3 is the Transcontinental. Now, full caveat, me and Shane played it. We didn't finish it. We played just a few rounds of it because he's like, I've got it. I never played it. I said, I got it the one time. I would love to play it again. And it was like final day in the afternoon. And I was like, well, did you want to start it anyways? And then we did. And I still really enjoy this game. Now, interesting fact, this is a past Canadian Game Design Award winner. And it got published, and I ended up buying my copy at FallCon a few years back, and it's just a really interesting game. So first of all is we are building the train from the East Coast Canada to the West Coast Canada is what we're trying to do. And you have tiles on the top and on the bottom of the track, and they kind of stagger a little. So when you place like where you're going to activate, you can activate both the bottom and the top. But like you can do, depending on which one you place it on, you can kind of activate different things along the bottom and the top, and you decide which ones you want, where you're going to want to activate. You kind of take turn placing your little token as to where you want to activate. You can also save them for the trip back. And then when you go up, you kind of activate the things, you kind of fill things on the train, and then you'll have passengers, you'll have like workers, you'll have resources that you have on there. You can collect and put on the train, like depending on where you land on. So I had like a farm, and I was collecting wheat. So I was placing wheat onto the train as we were going. And then once you reach the end of how far this train track has been built, then there's kind of like a bidding mechanism where you're going to dictate how many resource you want to kind of dedicate towards building future tracks. And everybody's doing this. But whoever has the most gains victory points for doing it. And there's a certain resource that actually counts for more depending on where you are on the track. So let's say it's the wheat. Well, I'm sending 2 wheat, which actually counts as 2 wheats each. So that I'm dedicating 4. So I say, okay, 4 from me, 2 from you. So we're building up to 6. And then you kind of move the things, and then you unlock the different things up to that area, which kind of gives you access to new tiles that you'll be able to activate and do things or build buildings on. And then the train turns around and goes back towards the east. And then you can, if you have saved some tokens, you can activate different place for that. Then you go back to the end. And then if the coal chute is filled, then you can add to the train and then kind of turn around and go back. And it's kind of like a back and forth where you're activating different things and building for now, one thing that's really, really cool about this is the attention to details. You have this player board, like the shield, that has like all the information of what you can do. And it could be like, okay, so here's how the bidding works. And then at the top's like, if you want to know more about this, because you got more questions, go to page 17 or whatever it is. Like it shows you on there where in the rule book it is.
That's nice.
Love that about it. Yeah. Plus, they have put so much research into the history of all of this that they have like a whole history book that goes with it about the construction of the train tracks across Canada and everything that's
Wow.
involved into it. And it's such a neat game. I absolutely love it. It was a lot of fun. Even though we ran out of time, we couldn't finish it. It was good. And that is my number 3, the Transcontinental.
I think me and you played this one time at your house.
I
I
don't think
feel
we
like we
did.
did. Because you would have been the only one I would have played it with, like that has it, I
Maybe
think.
then.
Yeah.
Because I
I'm gonna
remember
look it up.
playing it with Michael. I don't remember playing it with
Yeah.
you.
I'll look
But
it up and see.
yeah.
I do remember. I feel like I remember it. But anyway, my number two is Botanicus. Now, this one was a game I had purchased for a card treat raffle and ended up like looking into it and I'm like, geez, I think I want to keep this game. At first, I just like I thought it was, one of those cutesy tile games that had some good reviews, and apparently I have to have all of those. So I opened it up and played it, and I was like, I love this game. Like it looks like it's just a simple game, but it's really tricky. You are making a garden and everyone has these player boards. And the neat thing about this game is there's two ways to play it. You have two sides of your board. One is a simple version, not actually simple, but a simpler version, and the other side's more
Right.
complicated. And so you're trying to plant all these different types of plants and fulfill these goals. And then once those goals are fulfilled, you're going to fulfill new goals in the same areas. But how you go about it is the same kind of mechanic that Floriferous has, where you are going to choose an action, and depending what action you choose, that will determine your turn order. So you're going to start, you're playing as these flowers, and you kind of move across the board from left to right. The first column is the first action, and if you're first, you get to choose any of those. If you're second, you can choose any of those as well. If you choose one that somebody is there, you have to pay money for to go on top of them. And then in the next round, the person who's if you have two that are stacked, the person who's on top is going to get to go before the player underneath. So the different actions you can do is you can move up these three different tracks. There's a money track, a shovel track, and a wagon track. And those will give you different kinds of things like plants, money, and possibly watering your flowers. Now, you're not just trying to accomplish these goals that are on the side of your board, meaning different types of level of flowers or plants, but you're also going to try and complete columns with like some high level plants because you're going to score the highest level of plant in each column if you complete them. You have these little animals on your board that are going to give you different types of scoring at the end of the game. On the easier side, it's just, basically however many you collect, you'll get more. But on the other side, they each have a unique different type of scoring that can help you throughout the game, and some of them are end game, which is really neat. You're trying to get to the end of these tracks as quick as possible because there's these point tokens that kind of diminish, so you'll get higher ones if you're quicker to the end, and then you will reset back to the beginning and try to get up there again. You have end game goals, like private goals that you're trying to accomplish. And then there's also these gardener cards that you can get. Now, before each turn, you can move your gardener. In the simple version, it's just a coin you're going to pay to move one spot. But on the back side, it's quite expensive. You sometimes have to pay $3 to just move to one spot. And they're all kind of trickier because you have to go up and over and down to get to some spots and not just like an up down. It's really, really puzzly and it totally doesn't look like it to me. So I just kind of thought, it was simple. I had seen someone playing this at Rocky Mountain Retreat and I looked at it and I was like, that kind of looks really neat, but I didn't get around to playing it. And then I saw it was on sale at Bliss. So I'm like, oh, I'll get a copy for the raffle. And then I looked into it and I'm like, wait a sec, I think I might have to keep this game. So played it a few times and then I somebody had wanted to play it at Car Treat. I don't know if it was Jen or I can't remember, but we ended up playing it and she really liked it as well. And it's nice because I said like this simple side. We ended up playing the more difficult side, but I said the simple side, like her daughter, I can't remember how old she is. She's between 6 and 9, I would say, but I
Oh,
said
so
like
pretty young, yeah.
I think she could probably grasp that simple side of it, or maybe not right now, but soon.
Mm-hmm.
And and then you can like evolve into the more complicated side, which I love when games do that because it's like you're getting two games out of one, basically,
Right.
right? But it is a really cool game, and it's unique because it doesn't feel like other ones where you're just placing things, but then you're also having to upgrade them for the next goals, and it's very unique. But that's my number two, Botanicus.
Cool. That looks neat.
Yeah.
So pretty. All righty. My number two is Terraforming Mars, the dice game. So I have all the Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, the original, the dice game, and when Michael came over on Sunday, he's like, "Oh, I want to play this one," and Lionel ended up joining us for this one. And this is an interesting game because for a dice game, you almost never roll the dice. You roll them once when you first get them, and then they're what they are. There's things that will allow you to manipulate the dice a little bit, but they are what they are. And otherwise, it's similar to Terraforming Mars, as is you will have cars that'll kind of work with each other. You're trying to put oceans and cities and forests onto the Mars, and we're making it habitable. So you want to increase the temperature, you want to increase the oxygen, all that sort of stuff gives you points. But it's just so satisfying to have the dice, and because that's how you're going to be acquiring the cards, and you'll need certain symbols, and then you can kind of activate some cards like, okay, well, this one allows me to discard this dice and get two of these ones on these symbols, and then like you kind of manipulate the whole thing. It's just very, very cool. I really enjoy this game, and play like I had played it maybe once or twice before and played it again, and I was like, yes, this is fun. And I'm glad we got to play it one more time. But that is my number two, Terraform Mars dice game. I think it's probably like my favorite out of the three.
Interesting. I want to play this. Definitely.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. I like the card game so much, or so far out of the
Yeah.
two. I do like the big game, but the card
Yeah.
game's easier to get to the table. But
This
all
one I
right.
would say even more so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, my number one is another crossover that we have, and that is Aquaria. Now, this was probably one of the only heavier Euro games I played. It's not a super heavy game, but I would say it's medium heavy. This one is by the designer of SETI and Tea Garden. This would probably
Sure.
be close to Tea Garden in weight, I would say, but I absolutely loved this game. I loved how the action selection, I love building my aquarium and trying to get my dials exactly where they need to be each round. And I kept thinking, okay, if I have them in the color I need for this round, they're going to be like terrible for next round. But some of the dials it worked out. I just need to move them one and they were good. Now, and there was so much going on because you could move around that map, you could move up the track, you could get your filters going and then kind of, you know, run that little engine and get a whole bunch of little bonuses. And it was just really neat.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say I didn't think the production was all that great compared to his other two games. I don't know if it's just the duller colors or what, but he's had better productions than this one. But I haven't heard a lot of great reviews of this game, so kind of held back a bit. But I was really curious to play it, and it is quite an expensive game. It's an $80 game,
Oh,
which
wow.
I
Yeah.
think for that should have a little better production. But I will definitely be looking for this one on the used market and would totally pick this one up. I loved it. It was neat. Lots of combos and engine building in this game. And
Whose copy did we play?
Jen's. Jen taught us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had taught this at Card Treat. We both didn't get to play that one there, but she's like, oh, I can
Right.
teach you. Like, yes, please do. I love when people teach me games because it's the ones that I don't have, because then it's like, do I want to buy this game? Like, I don't know. And it's like, oh, I still get to play it without buying it, which is so awesome. We have such a
Yeah.
good big group of gamer friends that we all kind of, you know, we typically will have different tastes, but we will have similar tastes in certain things with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's neat to be able to play each other's games. But yeah, this was my number one. I loved it. Aquaria.
Yeah, it was cool.
Mhm.
Very neat. I mean, I can see what you're saying with the production, although with the knobs being actual knobs and
Yeah,
like
it wasn't
it wasn't
terrible,
terrible. Yeah.
but an $80 game, I think
Could have been
should have
better, I
been
suppose.
like there
Yeah.
was like yeah, that wasn't the best quality of like boards and stuff. Like it wasn't a bad production. I'm not saying that at
Right.
all, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Neat. All righty. My number one is probably the longest game I have played at MelCon and why my numbers are low, but it was so well worth it. And that is Rocket Man, a Martin Wallace game. I enjoy my Martin Wallace games. And I think it was so long because almost every, oh, look, and that's not even the proper picture. That's I put the wrong picture. Let me go. But with Rocket Man, and you know what was happening is I couldn't find the picture, and I did realize that was the wrong one there. But you are going on missions, and you're going to either go to the moon or go to, well, like one is like reach Earth, or but it's like the Earth satellites, or go to the moon, or go to Mars. And you have these mission cards that you're gonna kind of activate. Say, okay, I'm doing this mission, and then you need to prep your mission, and you're adding cards to your mission, and having certain symbols gonna move your things further, so it makes the distance that you need to reach a little better. And then you can get like specialty cards that's going to give you special abilities that you can have on these missions. And then you'd be like, okay, I'm going on a mission. And I would say 3 out of 4 missions failed for me. And it has a strong push your luck because you have these cards and you shuffle them and be like, okay, and that's the distance that you're traveling, right? So be like, okay, I'm going to the Earth satellite, so I can flip 3 cards and I need to move this much distance, but I have sent a couple of these symbols so I can not like kind of move, make that 2 distance less. So you flip the first card and it's a 0. Like a 0. There's so many distance, like there's a couple of cards that are zeros. Like, well, abort, because we're not gonna make it. So you can't abort the mission. And when you abort the mission, you have to discard out of your mission cards that you've prepped the total of cards you flip -1. So if you abort after the first one, you don't lose anything except you're obviously not going anywhere, right? So, but if you like flips like, okay, I got a 2, not great, but hopefully, okay, flip again 1, it's like, good, let's try. If I get a 4, or like there might be hope, and then you flip another one, then you got a 0, and now it's like, well, that was all 3 cards, so it's not an abort anymore. Now it's complete fail. And if you fail a mission, all the mission cards you had prepped, they all go away. And you got to start all over again. But it's a deck building game at its core. It is so good. So good. I really, really enjoy this game. And I'm so glad I got to play it again. I bought my own copy after playing this many years ago at Card Treat for the first time. And I was like, I like it. I like it a lot. And it was still so good. But yeah, we played this game for a long time. And I think just because we had so many catastrophic fails. But that's my number one, Rocket Man.
Nice. Yeah. So
and this was our top 9 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know one thing we didn't do? Well, I don't know what our next topic is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because I've already sent you my list. Remember, we're doing the top 9 2016 games.
Oh yes, right.
Which was going to be the one we were doing 2 before this, and then we're like,
yes.
oh wait, we have Card Treat, and then we have MelCon. So yeah, we're all
good. Going back.
Yeah.
Perfect. I got my list for that too, so then we're good to go.
Yeah. So wonderful. I have one little thing to say. So this little background that I have here is going to be the last time. Most likely you'll see me in this background because I am moving my games downstairs. My son has bought a house and he is
That's
moving out
right.
tomorrow.
That's so
And I
exciting.
have purchased a table and refinished it. Well, my husband refinished it. And so then I'm going to move everything downstairs. And yeah, it's going to be neat. But
That's going to be so exciting.
yeah.
Yes, that's so exciting. And then tonight, I am going to unpack from MelCon and
Oh,
put my
yeah.
games back on the shelf.
Yeah, that's right.
Exciting news all around.
Yes.
Well, I can hardly wait to see what the new. You know what? We should do another show me your shelfie
Yeah,
once you have it all
we'll do one
reset.
once it's all set up. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
debating. I still might be painting, so it might not be as soon as I think, but we'll have to see
Right.
what the walls. I think they're actually in really good shape, so I don't think I have to paint, but we will see when we get everything moved out tonight and tomorrow. And
That's exciting.
see, yeah, a
So
little sad
exciting.
my baby's moving, but he's
But you
moving
know what's like,
like down this like probably a 4 minute drive, so it'll be fine.
but that'll soften the blow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So until next time, where can people find you, Mel?
So,
So,
honey,
hun,
under Mel's working room. We also have a Discord channel where we have a bunch of people kind of chit chatting on there. So be sure to join us there as well. How about you, Carla? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. Well, until
Wonderful.
next time, thank you all for listening.
Bye, everybody.